Now,
Oh boy.
we just want to talk about the smoking ban
Yes.
in public housing. So you can feel free to call us up and let us know what you think about that. So if you have, well, in New York, it went into effect yesterday, but do not, for those that are in New York, do not blame NYCHA. NYCHA is the New York City Housing Authority.
Right.
Do not blame NYCHA because this is actually coming from the federal level. So this is the U.S. Department that's over public housing, that they're instituting a ban on all public housing nationwide, and they're just letting states and cities enforce that rule themselves. So basically the smoking ban means that in your own apartment, let me not say it like that because I don't want to sound, because I'm actually not biased, but in your own apartment, you are not allowed to smoke.
I see nothing wrong with that.
So you see nothing wrong with them telling you, because I'm going to mention both sides.
Because sometimes the smoke, it travels. People fail to realize smoke travels. Even if you're living in a house.
Right.
And somebody's in a whole nother house next door to you, depending on where they're smoking, how they're smoking, that smoke will still come into your house.
Right.
So imagine an apartment. You're even closer. And people have asthma, people have breathing problems. You know, and sometimes you have to be considerate of people who have these things.
So now,
Yeah.
do you think that people should be allowed, in a private house, do you think that people should be allowed to smoke in a private house?
No.
In your private house? Not public, your private, like where you live.
It depends.
So you're just anti. I mean, I don't smoke, but
I don't smoke, so
you're just
I mean,
anti-smoking
for me,
around the board, then.
I think there's nothing wrong if you smoke, but you have to be conscious of the areas around you and who's around you. Like if you're living next door to somebody and you know they're elderly or you know they have certain conditions, you shouldn't be smoking like directly where it might blow over into their house or their area. I think you should just kind of have, you know,
Consideration.
yeah.
But do you think that they should have a law that prevents you from smoking?
In
There's
your
one thing
house?
about there's one thing to have consideration.
Well, you see, because I'm not a smoker, so I
Right.
would say no smoking. But I guess for people who smoke, they would want it. But for me, no, there should be smoking nowhere, actually.
Cause like in New York City alone, and this is not something that's nationwide, but you're not allowed to smoke in public parks. You're not allowed to smoke in restaurants and bars in New York City. This is a law that was instituted quite a few years ago.
Right.
So now, some people, and I'm hearing this number, this is a figure, some people are paying $1,500 rent to stay in public housing. And now they have, for those that smoke, now they're being told what not to do in the apartment that they're paying for. It's not a situation like we have public housing that is being provided for you.
But these
Free.
people have to realize that the smoke travels. That's the problem.
It
If
does.
it was just staying within your apartment,
Right.
that's fine. It wouldn't be an issue. But remember, smoke travels. And some people, they can't take the smoke smell. They can't. Whether it's cigarettes, whether it's whatever they're smoking, a lot of people cannot be around smoke, especially if they're on oxygen. They can't be around it.
So we just want to hear from the people out there what you think about
see
this
nothing wrong
subject.
with it.
So if Stacey already, I don't have
No, I mean,
I don't have an opinion
whatever.
one way or the other. I mean, I'm leaning more towards, like I said, I don't smoke, but I'm leaning more towards, if that's your apartment that you're paying for, that's your living there. Like, I can understand a ban in public spaces like bars, restaurants, parks, like that.
Yeah, but if you're
This is a space that you're living. This is your living. Like, that's like saying you can't drink in your house. You can't.
Oh no, you can't.
You know,
tell me.
right? Right. That's what I'm saying. This stuff that is just commonplace for some people. Now you have a law that's telling you that you cannot do that, and you got to pay rent to stay there. And basically, what in New York, they said they're not gonna enforce it maybe as strict as other places, but because what they could do is like they can eventually kick people out, stuff like that. But New York City at least is saying they're not gonna go that far.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
just give notices and give warnings and stuff like that. So if it continues,
Right.
then they'll probably get to that level. But they said they don't want to kick anybody out. They just want people to stop smoking inside the building.
Because people get reckless with it, and people want to sometimes maybe smoke all day. I mean, you just want to smoke all day, all day. People leaving in the morning, you outside smoking. They're coming home at night, you still out there. Come on, I think that's a bit much. So, yeah, I think they should ban the smoking. Yeah.
Well, they did ban it.
But my concern is just more for people who can't be around smoke. It's not just the smoking, it's the people who can't be around it. Babies shouldn't be around it. Elderly shouldn't be around it. People who have certain diseases shouldn't be around it.
Like I have asthma, so smoke is gonna bother me. But being an asthmatic, cats are gonna bother me.
Yeah.
So, but they're not gonna put a ban on having cats and dogs in your apartment. But even though the dander from those animals can affect other people.
Yeah, but if you're living in an apartment building and your apartment is right next to somebody who smokes all day, that smoke is gonna come into your apartment.
Pet dander can too. If your apartment is next to somebody that has a pet,
the smoke will easier come
scent of the pet could come into your apartment.
The smoke will easier come in.
So I'm just
especially in the winter when there's not as much air circulating because it's summer, the windows are open, things are open, the AC's on. In the winter, you're closed in. You're gonna smell that smoke.
So actually, there's quite a few people that agree with you.
I
Carletta agrees with you. I believe Ruth. She said that her son hates smoke. She agrees with you. Mary says that smoke does travel in apartment buildings, so she agrees with you. Kamisha says that she doesn't mind the smell of weed, but cigarette smoking is a no. So she agrees with you. Big up yourself. We're gonna get some people because we have some people in the studio, around. So we want y'all to let us know what y'all think about the smoking ban in U.S. public housing. Do you think it's a good rule, or do you think that they're going too far by saying that you cannot smoke in your own apartment that you pay for? So once again, you're keeping it locked to the gallery right here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio. Number for the studio is 718-393-5385. So keep it locked. Just gonna jump back into the music right now. So we're talking about the U.S. ban on smoking in public housing. I'm keeping a neutral approach, but for the sake of the argument, because Miss Stacy is strongly in favor of the ban of smoking in public housing. So I just been given a alternative.
You know how it's gonna go? People who are smokers are gonna be upset, and people who are not smokers are gonna be kind of happy. So it's like you can't make both sides happy.
Right.
That's just how it's gonna be.
Like I said, I can see the whole thing with, when you're in a confined space, building, especially in New York City, people don't know about Project Heat. So it's like, how that smoke travels. It's like going into a hotel, they have a smoking section and a non-smoking section. You have rooms in hotels where you can't smoke in because even after you leave, the smoke still stays in. It affects the people that come in.
Still smoking, right?
No, certain rooms. No, I'm saying you have
certain rooms.
Right, you have. That's how hotels do it. You have rooms or floors that are for the smokers, and then you have non-smoker rooms. So like usually when you book a room,
that's only right.
You have the option. Like flights, most flights are non-smoking unless you're doing something private. And like we mentioned in New York City, smoking is outlawed in public spaces like bars and restaurants and parks. So at this point, the U.S. ban has put in effect, and people that are smoking are.
And people are still gonna do it.
No, yeah, they're gonna do it because
people are still gonna.
I don't think that it's like jaywalking. I don't think that that's something that is gonna be enforced like that. It's the rule is in the book, unless it's something like out of hand. Or you have somebody that's snitching, or somebody doing a lot of complaining. I don't think that anybody's gonna care to enforce that. I don't see police answering a call to go to apartment 14D because the person's smoking.
They have more important things.
There's other things going on. So the ban is there. How people choose to deal with it. That's how they choose to deal with it. So once again, just everybody out there. That's what we're talking about tonight. The U.S. ban of smoking. So some people out there, they have opinion on one side, but a lot of people, seem to agree with the ban. Surprisingly to me, a lot of people actually agree with the ban.
Yeah.
I figure, even if you smoke a dinner smoke, that you just wouldn't want the government telling you what to do in your private space. Private in terms of you pay for that space. It's not like you're in a shelter that, is provided for. You're paying rent in an apartment, and now they're telling you that you can't smoke in that apartment. So I guess
I don't know. I mean, even for me, like now, sometimes when you go on the trains, They smell of smoke and weed. I don't know if people are... No, I've heard instances where people have actually been smoking on the train. And sometimes it smells that way, so maybe people might start smoking in the train.
No, I don't know about that.
No, it does smell sometimes, yeah. Like weed, it does, or smoke. So.
Well, yeah, because that stays in your, for people that do that, it stays in your clothes. You can't...
And I hate to smell that first thing in the morning, like you're going to work, and that heavy smell, especially in the morning, it's like... I guess because I'm not a smoker, so I smell it right away, and it's like it's too early in the morning for that. It's like 7:30 in the morning.
And once they put the drinking rules in effect, we're gonna see what you think about that.
Excuse me.
Let me see what city council I could call, because I know a couple. Let me see which one.
About what, drinking? They're never gonna stop drinking. You know how much money alcohol makes?
No, I mean just in certain places, certain locations.
They would never stop that, and I will always have my flask with me. So.
Okay, I want to welcome Marilyn to the gallery. She gave a group hug to everybody. Want to welcome Ida. Happy belated birthday to Ida's mother. And Lynette says this. She says she doesn't smoke, but she feels that the building should have the proper ventilation, so that you would be able to smoke in your apartment.
They're not going to spend that money to do that.
So that's Lynette's approach. She's saying instead of banning smoking, provide the proper ventilation so that the smoke doesn't affect.
You know how much money that's going to cost for them to do that for every apartment?
I know.
They're not going to spend that kind of... I mean, in your own private house, you could do whatever you want if you want to get that kind of system where, to ensure the smoke wouldn't smell on the outside, but they're not going to... No.
So, Marilyn, we mentioned that, you can't smoke in our public places. I want to welcome DJ Ann to the gallery. Welcome Cassandra and Melton as well, and Sandra to the gallery. So once again, we're talking about the U.S. ban on smoking.
And do you think for housing it's also because a lot of people hang out and smoke? You think that's maybe why they're doing the ban also to...
Well, the ban is U.S. I don't think it was, if it was a New York thing, maybe.
No, but I mean, even in housing complexes in other areas, like people tend to hang out and smoke.
Right.
So maybe they're thinking this would kind of stop that
hanging out. And stuff. Yeah, because the rule is that you won't be able to smoke within 25 feet of public housing.
Right.
So even if you're outside of a building, you can't smoke within 25 feet of a building. So they're getting people all over the place. So on the one hand, because we spoke a few weeks ago that a lot of cities, including New York, eventually are lessening the rules on smoking, like marijuana and stuff like that. But now you have this rule that goes into effect. So on one hand, they're being lenient on smoking, but then you can't smoke in your own place. So like, where are you gonna smoke now that they're allowing you to smoke? So
I guess out in the forest somewhere. I don't know.
So you can't do that because you're gonna start a forest fire.
But they have like places like where people can go, like one of those cigar clubs where you're allowed to smoke because it's like cigars. So maybe people could start opening up like stuff like that where people could go and smoke.
And that's okay. By the way, for everybody, the smoking ban also includes hookah. So for those that smoke hookah, you cannot smoke hookah in your apartment anymore. So now all of a sudden, Miss Stacy's stuttering.
Oh boy.
Now Miss Stacy's
stuttering.
stuttering.
You didn't tell me that part. I mean, I'm not a smoker, but I have smoked hookah a few times, but it's not to say it's an everyday thing, but oh boy. You didn't tell me that part.
See, that's part of it too. So now all of a sudden, Miss Stacy's thinking differently. Manta agrees with you. I want to welcome Manta to the gallery. She agrees with Miss Stacy. She says secondhand smoke makes her nauseous and gives her a headache.
The gallery every Tuesday. Miss Stacy, Nicole Renee, and Badman Benny.